So today I'm going to be sharing with you a smoky brown eye. So a smoky eye is always something that people request and that people love attempting, but sometimes it can end very scarily. So I know I've had previous tutorials on smoky eyes before on my channel that were more of like a gray and black smoky eye. So I wanted to kind of do more of a user-friendly kind of brown smoky eye. So for those of you who want more of a smokier look but don't necessarily want to use like really dark shadows. So this is kind of more of a little bit of a warmer brown smoky eye, which is great on any eye color, but if you're someone that has blue or green eyes, this one is specifically going to make your eyes pop even just a little bit more, kind of pull out that blue and that green so that your eyes just really stand out. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is prep my skin with some rose floral spray. That one I got at Whole Foods. And then I'm going to moisturize my skin with Kate Somerville. I absolutely love this product. And I'm going to just put a little bit of this on all over my skin so that it has time to absorb into my skin while I'm doing my eye makeup. So I'm going to start with eyeshadow primer. This is MAC Painterly. It's just a flesh tone matte eyeshadow primer. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on all over my entire eyelid from the lash line all the way up to the brow bone. Okay, next I'm going to go through with my 286 brush from MAC, and I'm going to go through with a matte color in the crease. I'm using the Morphe eyeshadow palette in 35N, and I'm going to use kind of that warmer brown color. So I like to load up my brush and then start on the outer corner of the eye and just work my way towards the inner corner in the crease. This brush is great because it's nice and fluffy and rounded, so it really gets into the crease area and gets that product nice and softly blended. And you can go back and reapply as much as you want until the color is as dark as you'd like it to be. So next I'm going to take a firm flat brush by MAC, the 239, and I'm going through with this sparkly brown kind of darker shade. And I'm going to pack this all over the eyelid. So from the lash line up to where we just did that crease color, I'm going to really take this product and just pack it on so that the color pops a little bit more and starts to kind of create more of that smoky effect. Now you could just put some mascara and eyeliner on and call it a day, but we're going to make this a little bit more smoky and more dramatic. So I'm going to take my 217 brush by MAC and I'm going to go through with this black shade in my Morphe palette. And we're going to add this to the corner of the eye. So I'm going to load up my brush and I'm going to go right in like the corner of the eye, almost in like a corner V shape. So right into the crease just a little bit and then going down into the lash line is where I'm going to apply this color. And this is where it gets kind of messy. So this is why I do my eyes first always and then go back and clean it up. So don't worry, I'm going to look a little scary here for a few minutes, but I'm going to clean it up once we blend everything and have everything else on. Okay, once that's done, you're going to want to blend your dark shadow in with the rest of the shadows that you've already applied. So I'm going to take my crease brush and use a little bit of this lighter brown color that's in the palette and just go over everything that we've laid down. And what this does is it just creates a really soft, kind of blended, diffused look in your shadow instead of having just a really harsh line where the black stops. Nobody wants to see that. So this is a really important step in just kind of finishing off your smoky eye so that it looks nice and blended and really smooth and not just like, you know, you were coloring on your eye and you decided to stop. Okay, now I'm going to go through and add a little bit of a highlight color right underneath of the brow. You can use any light shade. I'm using the lightest shade that comes in this palette. Just right underneath of the brow bone. And I like to use something that's kind of a little bit fluffy to put that color underneath. but just a tiny bit will kind of make the eyes look a little bit more lifted and kind of finish off your shadow. And I'm going to go through with a brown eyeliner. This one is Coffee by MAC. I really like it because it's a dark brown, but it's a little different of an alternative than just doing a black eyeliner. I think it stays really well. It goes on nice and smooth, and so I just really like this eyeliner. Another thing you can do with your eyeliner, if you have a hard time getting a straight line or if you make any mistakes, is you can take, I'm going to take my angled brush, my MAC 266, and I'm just going to go back over that line and blend it out so that it's nice and smudged and not as perfect looking, and it's a little bit smokier as well too. Then once you're done with that, you can always go back through with a little bit more of your eyelid color and just pack it on top, just in case any of that kind of got blended out when you were blending your shadow. All right, now I'm going to go through and clean up this mess. I'm going to just use a simple makeup wipe. You can use a Q-tip with some eye makeup remover if you'd like. And I'm just going to take this wipe and clean up all of the fallout underneath of the eye area. This is why I do the eyes first, so then that way if you have fallout or if you got really messy with it, you just clean it up and you're not ruining your face makeup. I also like to kind of go at an angle from the bottom of my lash line up to almost where my brow kind of ends, and kind of go at an angle wiping upward in an upward motion so that I have a nice defined line where my smoky eyeshadow kind of stops, and that just gives it a little bit of a nicer look. Okay, once that's done and you're all cleaned up, we're going to move on to the face part. I'm using the Mally Skin Primer, and I'm going to use just a little bit of this on all over my skin. This is just going to help keep your makeup on, keep it looking nice and smooth. And this one has a little bit of a radiant glow to it. Now I'm going to go through with Giorgio Armani, their Luminous Silk Foundation. This is in 5.5, and I'm going to use a Sephora brush, and it's their Pro Angled Contour Brush. This one I love for foundation because it's nice and firm, it gives good coverage, but it also helps to spread the product out. So I always start on the cheek area and just kind of blend outward wherever you need your coverage. This foundation is absolutely beautiful. It has a pretty good coverage to it, but it's a little bit of a lighter weight. So it's not heavy at all. It's great for just evening out the skin tone, and it gives the skin just that hydrated, glowing look. So I'm absolutely loving this foundation right now. When I'm doing my foundation, I always make sure to kind of blend down my neck as well, because you never want to have that line of just where your foundation starts and stops. So be sure to take your brush and just kind of blend down the neck a little bit so that everything is nice and blended. Now I'm going to go through with concealer. This is the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. This color is in Custard. And I'm going to mix this with a highlighter that I recently got from Ulta in a little kit. It's by Becca, and it's in Opal. It's just a cream highlighter that I like to mix in my concealer. What that does is it just kind of gives the under eye a little bit of a glow, and it's just a really pretty highlight on the skin. So I'm going to apply this with my finger, and I just like to rub it in right underneath of the eye area, right against that line of shadow that we made, and then anywhere else where you feel like you want a little bit more coverage or maybe a little bit of highlight. I just kind of make sure to kind of get the inner corner of my eye area. I usually will also do around my nose a little bit, and if I have a blemish or anything like that, I'll apply my concealer to those areas as well. All right, once that's done, typically what I'll do is take my foundation brush again and just kind of go over everything, make sure that concealer is nice and blended and everything's kind of blended into the skin before I go and move on to applying some contour. So now I'm using the Anastasia Contour Kit, And I'm just gonna set my concealer with a little bit of their banana powder right underneath of the eye area. Now I'm going to go through with my Sigma powder brush. It's just a big fluffy brush, and NARS Laguna bronzer. This is one of my absolute favorite bronzers. It has no orange in it. It adds a little bit of color to the skin without looking fake, but gives you just enough color. Now I'm going to go through and add a little bit of contouring. I'm using the MAC brush in the 116, and I'm using Blunt Blush by MAC. And I'm just going from the top of my ear almost down to the corner of my mouth, but not going all the way to the corner because I don't want it to touch. And then I just apply it along the hairline just to give my skin a little bit of depth and dimension, and just that little bit of contour along the hairline. So then I'm going to do it on the other side, and then I also like to contour just a little bit right underneath of the jawline lightly. Next, I'm going through with NARS Blush in Orgasm. This is one of my favorite blushes. Has a really pretty kind of peachy gold finish to it, and I love wearing it with like a smoky brown eye, and I love my blush, so I'm going to put lots on. And I'm using the NARS blush brush to apply this product. Okay, next I'm going to add a little bit of a highlighter. I'm going to go through with my Sigma Taper Blending Brush. And I am applying the Becca Cosmetics highlighter in Opal. It's a powder. It is so beautiful. A little bit goes a long way, so don't put too much on. And I'm just applying that in a C shape right around the eye area, and then you can also do down the center of the face. Is really pretty. Next, to kind of smoke out your eyes a little bit more, I'm taking that eyeliner in Coffee and applying it to the waterline just to make the eyes look even more dramatic. And then I'm taking my angled 266 brush, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of that brown shadow that we did on the eyelid underneath of my lower lash line, just to shape the eyes and to give me that bottom eyeliner effect without doing a harsh black eyeliner all the way around. Then I'm going to add a pop of highlighter with a pencil brush by MAC, and I'm using the lightest shade in the palette to do that as well, just on the inner corner of the eye. To fill in my brows, I'm going to use a brow set by MAC. This one's called Beguile, and it's a brow gel that has a little bit of color to it. My brows are really thick, and so sometimes I just want to do a little bit of color, but mostly some gel in there just to get them all going the same direction. So this is a great product for that. You just brush it right on. Next up is mascara, and I'm using the L'Oreal Voluminous mascara. This one I've actually have really liked. You just have to be careful because sometimes it gets a lot of product on the wand. So I just go a little bit slower so that I don't get it all over. And then if you've watched my videos before, I always share, like if you tip your head back a little bit, that keeps it from getting all over your pretty eyeshadow that you just did. Once your mascara is done, we're going to move on to the lips. I'm using the NARS lip pencil in Biscayne Park. These I love. They are really nice and smooth, really hydrating, really easy to use, and they add a good bit of color. And that one's kind of just a nice nudish peachy color. And then I'm going to finish that off with Victoria's Secret gloss in Peekaboo. I actually really like their lip glosses. I just came across this one just recently, so I wanted to just put a little bit of shine on just to finish off the look. And there you have it. There's your brown smoky eye with a neutral lip.